Hey folks, okay, it's time for another Rolling Stones album. This is their last album in the 90s. Well, they basically only had two albums in the 90s, Voodoo Lounge and this album, which is called Bridges to Babylon. And in fact, this is their 23rd album here in the United States. It went to number 3 and it went platinum. In the UK, it went to number 6 and it went gold. Now, this is the only complaint, only nitpick of this album, is that I was listening to the album and I felt a little frustrated a little bit listening to this album. I thought, I'm kind of. It's probably because that they have so many people here. The thing about it, there were 8 different bass players on this album, which is insane. Well, that will bother some people. Well, yeah, there are a lot of countless people that kind of list this album very low. You know what I mean? It's kind of one of the weaker Stones albums, kind of one of the hated Stones albums. I don't believe so. You know what I mean? I'm thinking, wow, these songs are actually pretty damn good. And to think about it, they had almost 3 different producers. Not only just the Glimmer Twins, but of course Don Was is in the picture again. But they have Rob Fraboni, they have Danny Saber, they have Pierre Desportes. He played on the other album. He played on the previous album, Voodoo Lounge, and the Dust Brothers. Now, these producers, let's start off with Rob Fraboni. He worked with a lot of different artists, including Bob Dylan. He was also the vice president of Island Records in the 80s, and also produced the soundtrack for Martin Scorsese's The Last Waltz. Danny Saber worked with a lot of heavy metal artists, including Ozzy Osbourne, I think Marilyn Manson, and also Alice Cooper. He had an album called Along Comes the Spider from the early 2000s, I think. And, he produced everyone else. And the Dust Brothers were kind of an electronic kind of, they were brothers, I believe. So that's why they're called the Dust Brothers. And they went to work with Beastie Brothers and also the Bop song by Hanson. Of course, that was part of my childhood. That Bop, that freaking annoying song. Yeah, by Hanson in the late 90s. So that's kind of interesting. This album was released September the 29th, just right at the end of September of 97. It was recorded between March the 13th, early 97, into the summer of 97, July. This was recorded mostly in Los Angeles, in Ocean Way. So like I mentioned, there was Don Was, Rob Fraboni, Danny Saber, Pierre Desportes, actually 6 different producers. Yes, including the Glimmer Twins, like I mentioned. I really love the album cover. You know what I mean? I definitely like the Voodoo Lounge. I think Steel Wheels. Well, I think during the 80s and 90s, I think they didn't really have, for that matter, I don't think they didn't really have the greatest album covers during that time. But I definitely love this album cover. And Mick suggested this guy named Stefan Sage Master. I believe that's how you pronounce his last name. He told him, hey, go out and look for something. He wanted to tell him, hey, look for something that's Babylonian. You know what I mean? So he went to this art museum in Britain and found this cool lion, human head or whatever, and put in the album cover. Or, have it right on the album cover, or, in front of the album, and make it look like it matches the name of the album, which is cool. I like that. So, and by the way, I think at this time too, I think some people were kind of putting down the Stones a lot during this time. And I think most people call them, they became a huge profit. They became this big corporation, of trying to, for their concerts or whatever, they're mostly in for the money, you know what I mean? And I don't believe that one bit. That's bullshit. I think the Stones are just they're just the guy. These guys are just so just like down to earth. They seem very down to earth, and I don't really think that at all. I never really think of them or really thought of them as kind of like a money grabbers. Kind of just to make a huge whatever. So, and by the way, there are a lot of people, not only producing, but a whole bunch of people on here. Not only, well, yes, mixing and all this and that. A lot of musicians on here, but a lot of good musicians. Waddy Wachtel, Ben Montench, Billy Preston. He plays on a track on here, or I think he plays one track on here. Yeah, a lot of people on here. Danny Saber and Don Was, like they're on here. And this actually sounds, and it actually sounds pretty good, But I think at first when I listened to this album, I felt a little like I couldn't really focus, listen to the album because there's just so many other people playing and, you got different guitars and you got different keyboards and piano, like kind of mixed all over the place. And to me, it bothered me a little bit, but it doesn't really bother me as much. And the Bridges to Babylon tour became one of their huge tours that they had. And it lasted almost a good year from September the 23rd of 97 to September, I think the 18th or 19th of 98. And it grossed over $274 million. That's insane. Which is behind their Voodoo Lounge tour from 94 to 95. And their next one became even bigger with No Security in January 99. So yeah, I don't think this album isn't bad. Nor I don't think it's, well, I think this is a really great quality Stones album. It sucks that they had to have so many people on here and, maybe it can kind of, give people headaches, but, whatever. But anyways, let's get down to the tracks. And this will kind of be my last album, in fact, to do a full-on review. Because when I get to Bigger Bang and Bridges to Babylon, Blue and Lonesomes. See how I'm getting confused with the B's, There you go, 3 albums right off the bat with B's. Bridges to Babylon, Bigger Bang, and Blue and Lonesome. Yeah, those albums, I'll kind of individually talk about some of the tracks that I like, of course. But then I'll kind of just do my own commentary, not do a full-on review. But anyways, I digress, whatever. So let's get started here on Bridges to Babylon, my review here. So what we got here is Glimmer Twins, Don Was, Dust Brothers, PRD Port, and Danny Saber on these individual tracks here that they're producing here. But this first one is done by the Glimmer Twins. And this first track here is called Flip the Switch. Isn't that a really gritty and very Stones-like song title. And that's what I call it on here, a gritty rocker. Really cool guitar intro. Cool, I love that. So what we have here for the many bass players on here, Jeff Sarley here is up first playing the bass. And by the way, it takes a little while until their bass player, Daryl Jones, shows up. So, yeah. I know, right? And I really love the cool Charlie hi-hat opening, which really brings the feel of the song, Really cool. I love mix of vocal deliveries here with excellent guitar work. By Keith or Ron, I believe. This is a really cool song, very interesting, chords and stuff. And it's really nice, cool rocker, excellent. With the saxophone as well, that's kind of cool. Really in-your-face backing vocals as well, which is cool. Yeah, really great opening track for this album, Flip the Switch. Now, we get to the next track, and there were 3 singles that came off of this album. This one being Anybody Seen My Baby, Out of Control, and there was another song, I believe, wrote it on here, another single, I believe, that was on here. Well, when I get to it, I guess I'll mention about it. But anyways, the second track is called Anybody Seen My Baby. The first one was produced by the Glimmer Twins. This one, this time, is produced by 3. We got Glimmer Twins, Don Was, and the Dust Brothers here. And I really love that cool melodic bass intro. Really give it kind of a contemporary feel a little bit. This time the bass is played by Jamie Muhubarak. Gosh, I believe I'm probably really butchering that last name, and I apologize. We got Mick, Keith, Waddy, and I think Mick was also on Flip the Switch here on Electric. Yeah, so how about that? Isn't that nuts? But yeah, we got probably 4 different electric guitars here on just this one song. Waddy, Wachtel, and of course Ron Wood here. And Waddy's also playing acoustic as well. I think it's kind of deep in the mix. So yeah, this one is an R&B pop rocker here. And I really like the Anybody See My Baby, you know, the backing vocals, pretty cool. So yes, this was a single released September the 22nd. By the way, that's my dad's birth date, is September 22nd of 97. That's pretty cool. So I guess the single was released on the day of my dad's birthday. But this didn't do anything in the United States, unfortunately. Nothing really big ever hit here in the United States. Went to number 22, however, in the UK, and I can't believe, number 1 in Canada. And this song, believe it or not, there was a song, I believe, from 5 years ago, or just before this album was, 5 years earlier before this album. There was a song that was released in April of 92 by a UK artist called Ben Mink, I believe, and it's a song called Constant Craving. Now, I think the Stones were hearing that song and they thought, oh, I think maybe Keith Richards' daughter at the time maybe brought that up and said, hey, that sounds like a song called Constant Craving. And so they're like, oh, maybe we should give some song credits to, to these guys or whatever, this guy Ben Mink and Kid Lang or whatever. And so they gave them the honorary credit to them, which is very nice, for the Stones to do that. So yeah, it's a cool song. It's a bit of an R&B kind of melodic feel, which is kind of nice. Now I think the only downfall of the song is that they have this guy named Biz Markie, who was pretty much a pioneer of that early 90s, like the 90s, 80s, and 90s pioneering of that, or, that sound or that kind of hip-hop thing or whatever. He died just a year ago. I think he was like 57 or something or whatever. 54 maybe? I don't know. Somewhere in the 50s. And he does this little kind of like, and it's not like it doesn't ruin the song completely, but I think it's kind of a bit of a letdown that they put that in there. This kind of little gibberish thing that he says. But I think it's a very interesting song. I really love Anybody Seen My Baby. But I think it sounds a little bit like an NSYNC song. Okay, I'm pushing a little bit too far here. But yes, I think it kind of sounds like maybe a boy band would do at the time or something. But it's still a very interesting song, all right? Anybody See My Baby? Maybe we'll put that song to the side for now. Okay, next song is called Lowdown. This one's produced by the Glimmer Twins. And this is a cool, really cool bluesy rocker here. Very cool. Man, just give me the truth, man. Come on. Let's get it to it here. Enough of the BS. Let's just get to the truth here. I really like the message of the song here. Waddy once again on electric guitar, and now we have Blondie Chaplin here on bass, and maracas, and also doing backing vocals, including Keith and Ron. This is a pretty cool rocker here, you know. Really interesting twin guitars as well. Really love Waddy Wachtel here. He's really interesting here on this song. And I'm not sure if this is one of the songs that have that really cool, oh no, maybe I'm thinking about another song that comes up a little bit later. But yeah, I really love that. You know, that feel of, hey man, just give me the truth here. Come on. You know, really excellent. Yeah, Blondie Chaplin. He's a pretty famous guy here, you know. But anyways, Glimmer Twins here producing for that song. Then we get the next song. And this one's a really cool one. It's called Already Over Me. This guy named Bob Clear Mountain. And see, now we're getting all these different people mixing and producing, or, you know, doing production or whatever. He's doing the mixing here for this track. This is the Glimmer Twins. And it's a soulful, medium tempo ballad rock, ballad song with really great opening, I think piano or maybe some keyboards or whatever, done by either Bent Montench or Don Was here. Yes, Don Was is actually on this track here, playing piano and bass. So he's doing the bass here. Yeah, he was an actual bass player, this guy, and of course playing, you know, other instruments as well. It's kind of crazy here. I think there's almost 3 people playing on piano and keys, because Blondie Chaplin as well is playing piano, and such as Bent Montench. But I think he's playing the Woozler keyboard, I believe. So we got Mick, Keith, Ron on electrics here, and also acoustic, which I believe is done by I believe it is done by, I think, Keith, I believe. Yeah, it's a really cool song, you know, really cool, soulful. A little bit of a maybe Wild Horses a little bit. Yeah, it's a cool song. I like that. Already Over Me. Then I just love the transition. It goes right into the song Gunface, which is a really cool, almost funky beat, almost a funky rhythm, R&B rocker. This is the Glimmer Twins, and Don Was here. And Danny Saber here is on production here. He's playing 3 different instruments. He's playing bass, bass, and electric, and keyboards. Once again, we have the dueling guitars by Keith and Ron, excellent. And I don't know if, really cool production on this song. It's really cool. It's got a little bit of a gritty feel, you know, and with a little bit of a, you know, kind of a 70s feel, just kind of interesting, you know. Not much to say on this song, but yeah, it's pretty cool, Gunface. And it really has a really cool bass line to it too as well. And I think this is a song where it has a little bit of that kind of, you know, the effects or whatever are given that kind of cool 70s kind of black feel. Whatever. It's a good song. Then we get the next one. Right, yeah, really cool song. Yeah, I definitely want to say very underrated track here for them, Gunface. Then we get the next one, and it's called You Don't Have to Mean It. This is produced by the Glimmer Twins. Rob Fraboni here is doing the mixing and engineering. This one's a bit of a reggae song, you know, reggae feel, medium tempo pop song. Keith is here on lead, plus rhythm electric, and plus Ron here doing rhythm as well. We got Matt Clifford here on Hammond organ and piano with a cool reverb effect, you know. Daryl Lennard here on trumpet. And I don't know if Mick was on this track. I don't think he was. You know, it's a little bit of that, you know, we've been there, done that kind of thing. I do like the nice backing vocals, very nice. It's got a bit of, you know, that feel that we've all known and well for the Stones, but it's pretty good, you know, nothing special. And then the last one here is the 7th, before my next part here with the 6 other songs, is a song called Out of Control. So this was a single. I don't know where it was, I didn't know where it charted. But Glimmer Twins once again producing, just them. With Danny Saber on effects. Cool little, you know, milky effect here. And this definitely reminds me a lot of War or like Curtis Mayfield. It definitely has a bit of that feel, you know, which is really cool. So once again, we have bass for Danny Saber. He plays bass on here. And clavinet, which is kind of cool. It comes up. It's not throughout the track, but it kind of comes into the track. Don Was on Woozler piano and keys to kind of give it that kind of cool, you know, like the soul, 70s soul feel. Jamie Maherbach, that guy that I butchered the last name, is on keys here. Waddy Wachtel also as well on electric. And also Mick with that really cool bluesy, like we all know and well, that harmonica, that bluesy harmonica, and plus shakers too as well. Yeah, I feel like this one is a pretty cool song. This not much people ever bring this song up. Out of Control. The lyrics are a bit, you know, like we've come to know for the Stones here. And it's just a pretty good damn song, you know what I mean? And Wally Gagel, I believe, is doing the mixing here for this song. Yeah, Out of Control. You're out of control. Pretty cool song. Really, really cool effects here. Give it that 70s feel, you know. But anyways, folks, that is my first 7 here for the album, Bridges to Babylon. So my next one, we'll do the 6 other ones. And that's it, folks. Okay? Bye-bye.